I'm super excited to get into this video. What I'm going to walk you through is not necessarily just email copy or just design. It's how a real brand turned email into a long-term revenue engine instead of a short-term promotion channel. This is a breakdown of how Solo Stove built an email system that supported a business at serious scale. We're talking $500 million plus here. Not by just sending more emails, but by understanding psychology, timing, and how people actually buy. Now, if you're running email for an e-commerce brand, this will reset how you think about retention. But before we go any further, quick context. I'm not looking at this as somebody who's reacting to a campaign or guessing what's working. This is what I do day to day. I run retention for e-commerce brands across email and SMS. We're talking automations, we're talking campaigns, segmentation, deliverability, a life cycle strategy, campaign planning, post-purchase, the whole lot. And most importantly, tying it all back to revenue. Now you can see here an example of a brand. Let me refresh the Klaviyo screenshot. So far in January, we are up by 25% attributed revenue at $173,000, and we're not even finished for January. Like I mentioned, I run retention here at Hayes Media. We've been scaling 7 and 8, 9-figure e-commerce brands for the past 5 years plus. You can see our website, hayesmedia.co, an example of some of the brands that we work with and have worked with. There's some reasons why brands work with us, and most importantly, our case studies, which show exactly what I'm going to talk about today, but in more detail and with specific results. So we have an example from Remy here, which was 12,000 plus revenue growth. We've also been working with them for email and SMS now for the past 5 years plus, giving them a done-for-you solution. Now, if you want somebody to come in and audit your current retention system, we're actually giving free complimentary audits right now. And basically, this is a reset for January. It's there to help you find where you're leaving money on the table for your business. We will highlight the top quick revenue opportunities, high ROI opportunities that you can then take away, or if you choose to, you can work with us for a done-for-you solution. Now, you can go on our website, hayesmedia.co, book a time, or go in the link in the description and book a time to chat there. So let's start at the top. Solo Stove is selling a product that costs hundreds of dollars, and that immediately changes how email needs to work. You're not impulse buying. I mean, to some extent, yes, but not just randomly. At least most customers aren't impulse buying a fire pit. So their email strategy isn't about rushing the sale. The first thing they do well is the pattern interrupt, the immediate interrupt. So here we have a thing called threshold psychology. So you notice the $100 minimum here. It's strategic because Solo Stove's average order value sits well above this threshold, meaning the discount doesn't cannibalize and affect margins. And we talk about this a lot on the channel. With your pop-ups, with your email offers, you want to make sure that you're protecting margins first. And this is exactly what Solo Stove has done here. But here's the super genius. When you pair this offer with all the things you know, by pairing the offer with staying in the know and being the first to know all things Solo Stove, they're not positioning this as a transaction. They're actually offering a membership, almost like an inner club to an outdoor lifestyle movement where fire pits are just the entry ticket. Now, I would argue that there are optimizations that can be done on this pop-up. So one main thing is the 3-step opt-in. Now, I have a video on the channel, the highest converting pop-up tutorial. It's on our channel. Well, basically, the 3-step opt-in is the goal is you get micro commitments throughout the stage of the journey. So the first thing they would do here, instead of having an immediate enter in your email address, you would have a question, right? Which is, would you like $10, 10 euros off? Simple as that. And then you go into it's orders over 100 and the next page, but then they enter in their email address if they want it. But first of all, you have a question, yes, no. And they basically click yes. It creates a micro commitment in their mind. They're like, yes, I've committed a little bit. So getting the email address is easier the second time round. This 3-step opt-in approach genuinely, and you can check the video for the results, we've seen double, triple opt-in rates just by implementing a 3-step opt-in with micro commitments throughout. So check that video out. That's the only, there's a few other things I would do, but that's the main thing that I think Solo Stove are missing here. Now, let's move on to the first impression, which is the welcome flow. So once someone opts into your list, and in this case, Solo Stove's list, the clock starts ticking. Now, I believe Solo Stove understands something that a lot of brands tend to ignore, is that you have a short window before attention fades or comparison shopping takes over. So the welcome flow, the welcome series here is super tight. It's very focused and it's intentionally mixed. So you'll see two formats here. you'll see one that's a lifestyle driven that basically sells the experience. And then you'll see one, I mean, they both sell the experience, but you'll see here that they go on to start pushing the product a little bit more in their photos. But really, the lifestyle imagery here combined with the discount offer is something that works really, really well. They're showing how their product works in the experience that the customer is likely to have. So it's combining two, right? You see two formats. You see the lifestyle, right? And then you see the clean product, how they feature the product in the center of attention. That they're not overloading the inbox with these emails either. They're maintaining momentum, and that's the difference. So let's go through some of the emails that they've got here. You've got the world's most popular smokeless fire pits, your hottest goal of year. Best way to step into 2026 is we're charging around the fire. And then this one here is the welcome series. Don't miss your 5% off code. Save on products that bring everyone together all year long. Code available through. And it's very, very straightforward what you're getting and including the experience to it. Now, so one thing that Solo Stove does extremely well is lead with context, not features. So as you can see, the product isn't the hero at the top of the email. The moment is. And this is kind of like, something that comes to mind is like beer commercials, at least when they were back in the day. You'd have Budweiser and Heineken, where especially Heineken, they sell the moment of going out with friends and having a beer and socializing. They would always feature in their beer commercials where their product is essentially complementing an experience that our customers tend to have. And that's exactly the approach that the fire pit, the Solo Stove has gone here, which I imagine works really well. And if you can implement this for your brand, where you take the product and put it in common scenarios, common situations in photo or video format, where your customer are likely to use it, it's going to get more clicks, it's going to get better sales, and it's going to build more trust down the line as well. So as you can see here, the visual is doing the selling. Now, where there's opportunity, though, is contrast. So everything is polished and there's room. There's room for other things. And in this case, is a missing element is a founder voice, the room for plain text. And we talk a lot about this a lot on other videos. I've spoken so much about plain text, I don't want to batter it too much, but one thing that I noticed with Solo Stove is they really lean heavily on the polished creative, which looks very nice, but there's an opportunity to have the founder in the founder's tone of voice sharing things like fire pit tips, customers' success stories, or just stories in general, or even better, behind the scenes development process, because these unpolished moments of communication often outperform design emails in both engagement and conversion. And if they put these higher in the welcome series, say email 2 or email 3, they'll likely keep the momentum even more through their welcome flow. Now, that's just one thing here, but otherwise, the great thing that I want to highlight with Solo Stove is their lifestyle imagery and capturing the moment with their product. I think they do it really well. Now, let's talk about year-round relevance, because this is one of the most important takeaways, I believe, from this video. Now, most outdoor brands accept, they just sit back and say seasonality, right? Solo Stove doesn't. It does not, right? They've decided that fire pits aren't seasonal products. They're social products. So every season gets a narrative. Now, that's super important. Every season for this brand has its narrative, which is social, right? Bringing people together. I want you to think now, just for a second, with your products, whether you own your product, you own your own brand, or if you're working with a brand, I want you to think about the product and think where throughout the whole year can this product be used? And think deep, right? Think into human psychology. So in this case, if it is a social environment, do it, have it. But if it's something else, then lead with that. And you need to find this. You need to find this community aspect to your product, because that is what's going to make it evergreen. So every season gets a narrative, all right? Just so we can hammer in the philosophy here. Winter emphasizes warmth and intimacy. Spring focuses on patio transformation. Summer highlights the extended outdoor living, as you can see up here. And then also fall leans into peak entertaining season. You can start seeing here and here and here. Now, this eliminates the traditional Q4 revenue cliff that can crush a lot of seasonal brands. Cons, though, this approach demands substantial creative bandwidth to maintain. But basically what that means is you need to keep going. You need to keep coming up with new ideas, because eventually these will become old. you can only share so many people going on ski trips until everyone's like, I'm tired of ski trips. And also, your customers' interests, they can also change and fluctuate. So the main thing is you need to be very creative and planning out your campaign content calendars in advance and different every year. Some things you might replicate, but you need to be also throwing in a few things that you haven't tried before to keep creative, keep it innovating, but leading with the social foundation, right? In this case, but otherwise they do a great job and have been doing a great job when I was looking through the emails from last year and this year. So that's a good example there of year-round relevance. So now here's the part that you can take away and you can take a bit more seriously. It's important to know that this strategy doesn't work for everyone, right? I know a lot of brands have seasonality in place, right? And you can't just go directly to social being your evergreen year-round foundation for your brand, right? To keep it evergreen. However, if you're selling a commodity product with no emotional pull, this strategy and these things I've been talking about aren't going to save you. But the principles, they will still apply. So context of your product in different scenarios beats the features of the product. Experience with your product, lifestyle imagery, moments like created, where your product really is used in an actual real life experience beats the specifications of the product. Third is community beats clever copy. So start relying more on user-generated content, your customer testimonials, and even social proof for validation, right? The more subscribers see themselves reflected in your emails, the more that, they trust the experience that you're going to be promising. Now, here is the hard truth. If your product only matters 3 months of the year, you need to fix it, right? Be creative and aim to reposition your offer to create year-round relevance. So I've shown you a bit about the results that we've been getting for clients. Just to remind you, 25% increase from last year, and we're scaling quicker and quicker with this client, we made 7 figures last year. The goal is to keep moving up into 8 and 9 figures over the next few years, and we're going to get there. You've seen the website, book a call below if you want that retention audit. But the thing is, if you are going to take one thing away from this video, let it be this: stop asking, what should my next email say, right? Start asking, what should the customer feel at this point in the journey? And that's how brands like the one I mentioned in this video, the one and only Solo Stove, it's like these guys, is how they scale, right? So let's keep moving. I'll see you in the next one. And if you want, please go and book that call today. And I'll see you on the other side. Take care.